What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/StoriesAboutKevin. Alright, this story's called My Cousin is a Kevin Who Doesn't Understand How Gravity Works. So this story is about one of my younger cousins. He's currently 14. He is very short. I don't know his exact height, but around 4'4", I should add. This will be kinda important in this story, in my opinion. So this is back when Kevin was 9 and I was 12. We were visiting for family fun, just wanted to see my grandmother. We were at a place that rhymed with Harry Ling for a lunch. I have Dairy Queen? Do you have Dairy King where you live? What is this, China? Funny because they never had a king, they had emperors. And a lot of their population is lactose intolerant. This restaurant had a strange building structure. Near the front door was a rock wall wall. But instead of rocks, it was misplaced bricks. Because of this, there were plenty of ledges and places to stick limbs. You can probably see where this is going. So we were all sitting inside and eating, most of us at least. Kevin, my twin, and my youngest brother were all outside waiting for us to finish eating. I was sitting at the window when I noticed Kevin was no longer with the other boys. Being the concerned older sister type, of which I am, I walked outside to see what was going on. As I leave, I noticed the boys looking up, so my eyes followed their glances. Kevin was up near the sign. He was climbing up to the top to touch the sign. It should be pointed out that the end of the brick part is around 2 stories. And the sign is about the side of another story. For some reason, he thought climbing up 2 stories was a good idea and wouldn't have any complications. He clearly didn't think about how he would get down. So I'm standing there looking up at him before he reaches and touches the sign. He proceeded to shake both of his hands in triumph. This is when Kevin forgot how physics works. He regained his balance before looking down at us. Instead of trying to climb down, he jumped. He proceeded to fall the 2 stories onto his feet. Both of them. If it wasn't for the force of gravity, he would have landed fine, but also landed on his bottom. Remember, this boy at this point in time was like 4 feet. He fell 2 stories. My cousins immediately gave a scream, causing all the adults we knew to leave the restaurant concerned. He was in casts for a while and messed up his feet joints, but luckily didn't have any permanent damage. I still don't understand how he came out fine. As much as I love him, my cousin is a Kevin who has made even more dumb choices. Man, that guy's wild. But I'm not surprised he's fine. Obviously, small kid, and kids are resilient as hell. Like, try taking the same fall in your 40s, you're not walking again. Humans are already resilient enough as is. Like, for instance, we break a limb, most other animals just die of shock. Us, we heal, and pretty quickly, relatively speaking. But for like a horse's leg breaks, that horse is getting put down. It's getting shipped off to the glue factory. I know, it's a sticky situation. Alright, this story's called Kevin Tries to Start a Revolution at Work. A bit long, so I put a tilde at the bottom. This is about something that went down at work about a month ago. I work in tech support. Specifically, I sit at a department called back office, which is more of a second-line support, meaning we handle more advanced tickets. But most of this story happened at the service desk, which is the first-line support. It all started one morning when we got an email from the CEO which said that there had been a whistleblower report leveled at the bosses of the service desk and back office departments. The CEO informed us that they are taking these matters seriously and are currently investigating them. The whistleblower had also presented themselves as a speaker for lots of people's combined complaints. According to the reports, the back office boss was threatening employees running the department like a dictator and creating a culture of fear in the department. The report further claimed that the employees of back office were all scared of her and that no one dared to speak against her for fear of retribution. This came as news to us at back office, who honestly had no idea what they were talking about. Our boss is, first of all, like 5'3" and a bit on the skinny side. Second, she is nice to a fault. Some employees are kinda bossing her around. I don't think she is capable of threatening someone. As for the service desk boss, I have honestly never even met her. I started working here just as the pandemic broke out and people started working from home. I can't speak for the validity of her accusations, but since the accusations were leveled at the service desk boss, and the accusations of our boss were specifically mentioned when she was a temporary boss of the service service desk department, we are pretty sure the whistleblower was someone at service desk. Fast forward a week or so, and we get another email. This one was from an employee at service desk. Let's call him Kevin. The email was just a link to a Facebook group. It was sent to the entire office at 2 a.m. I ignored it at first, believing it to be some social group for all the employees. Then I spoke to a coworker who urged me to take a look, and holy crap was it worth it. Kevin had created a Facebook group where he wrote about the awful working conditions we suffered. He never explicitly states to be the whistleblower, but uses a lot of the same wording as the report. For example, presenting himself as a leader of a larger group. English is not our first language, but he wrote it all in English for some reason, and his English was awful. He wrote,
"We're 6 people right now, leading the pack, and I am the spokesman for all those people."
Quoted verbatim. Maybe he believed that this was going to become so huge it would reach international news or something. At the time, the group had 2 members, himself and another service desk employee who probably joined by mistake since he later left. Kevin also wrote that he contacted journalists and that he was going to start a fundraising project for a lawyer. The crown jewel of the group was a recording of a digital meeting he had with the back office boss while she was temporary boss of service desk. Apparently, Kevin had a long history of misconduct. To rectify this, they had established a plan for him to improve and had regular meetings to make sure he stuck to the plan. This was one of the meetings he had recorded. In the recording, Kevin repeatedly complained why they were after him for every little thing he did wrong, to which the boss calmly explained because he did so many things wrong, especially since a lot of them were repeat offenses that he had already been written up for once. Furthermore, Kevin stated that the boss wasn't allowed to bring up some of those offenses because he had already cleared those up with the service desk boss, and she said it was fine. So, back office boss explained that yes, it was fine as long as he didn't repeat it, which he had then done. Kevin also gave off some kind of sexist vibes and generally had the attitude that he didn't respect her authority. But the best part came at the end, when the following exchange went down.
"I just want us to understand each other, because if things don't improve soon, I will get sick of this."
Sorry, what do you mean with "I will get sick of this"?
I'm just saying that I will get sick of this, and I am holding you to that.
What are you saying?
I'm done here.
End call. I don't know about you, but that sounds like a threat to me. It started off as a vague statement, but when he refused to explain it, it became a threat. I don't know why he would post something like this. It very clearly made him look bad. Extra so with all the information about his repeated misconduct. The boss looked like a patient angel next to him. I tried to find a way to save the recording. I was certain he would at some point realize what a mistake it was to post something like that, and I felt it could strengthen the boss's defense if she had easy access to that recording. Sadly, Facebook wouldn't let me save it. So sorry, r/, if you're reading this, I can't sell it to you. As it turns out though, Kevin's crusade against our bosses was just getting started. He posted a screenshot of an email conversation between him and a higher-ranking boss where he stated that he didn't want to have his meetings with back office boss alone because he felt threatened by her. Higher-ranking boss said that back office boss was there as a representative for the company, but that he was free to include a union rep if he wanted one. She even offered to make sure to postpone the meeting to make sure he could arrange it. According to Kevin, this was just confusing legal mumble jumble. Again, quoted verbatim. The screenshot also included the boss's full name and company email address uncensored, and this was a Facebook group. Kevin then posted a link to a blog that talked about how to spot if someone was possessed by Jezebel, as in the biblical Jezebel, and how possessed people would present as manipulative and threatening. So Kevin was basically implying our boss was possessed by a demon. If I was CEO, I would have considered this guy a security risk at this point and have security escort him out of the building, but he stayed. Next up was another recorded meeting with back office boss. This time it revealed that he had tried to cheat with his time reporting. One day he had been 30 minutes late. After clocking in, he had opened up the program and manually changed his clock-in time to make it look like he was on time. He denied this and said he was only 30 minutes late, as if that's much better. The boss pointed out out that the logs clearly show that he edited it, and that he could check the logs himself if he didn't believe her. He refused to do so. The company also allows us to take up to an hour of every week to go exercise. Kevin had claimed this hour on a day where he only worked 2 hours. The boss said that it's not against the rules, but it's frowned upon, as they prefer you take it when you work longer days. Kevin blew up about this and asked why they were prosecuting him for something that's allowed. The boss again calmly explained that he is not being prosecuted for it. They are simply asking him not to do it again, especially not mixed with all the other misconduct. Lastly, they talked about how Kevin had forgotten his laptop charger at home one day and had to go home during his lunch break to get it. The bosses had asked him to check out if he was going to take longer than an hour break. Kevin had promised he would be back on time. His phone activity showed that he had been over an hour late and tried to get away with it by not telling anyone. When asked about this, Kevin tried to excuse himself that he had spent his lunch break traveling back and forth from home. He had extra time to eat lunch. He went as far as to ask her if she wanted him to starve. She simply responded,
No, we wanted you to check out when you traveled home. We don't want you to try to claim a salary for going home to pick up something you forgot.
After that, Kevin mostly just posted some random self-aggrandizing posts where he would talk about how rough we had it and how brave he was for speaking out. He really didn't seem to understand his post did nothing but make him look worse. I don't know if a single person agreed with him that we had poor working conditions. Kevin asked others to email him their stories so he could post them anonymously in the group. No story was ever posted, yet Kevin still talked about this as if he was leading some glorious revolution against some tyrants. When the CEO sent out an email saying that the whistleblower investigation was concluded and that the conclusion was that there was no grounds for the accusations, Kevin was not happy. He made a lengthy post about how the bosses were all liars who protected each other from fault, then concluded by saying that it's not over. Journalists were almost certainly digging into their misconduct and would soon blow this case wide open. After that, I went on vacation for a month and mostly forgot about it. According to my coworker, he posted one more meeting. In this meeting, it's revealed that he was caught manipulating the call logs, reporting calls as being longer than they really were, or even making fake phone calls to excuse not working. Employees can do this, but they keep logs of all alterations. His name was all over the thing. I don't know the exact details because I never got to listen to this myself. My next interaction with this came last Monday when I returned to work. I was greeted by an inbox full of emails to sort through and found a really odd one. It simply said,
Unfortunately, I have to reschedule our meeting. I hope you understand.
It was sent during my first week of vacation. Then I recognized the name, Kevin McKevin, and it all came back to me. The email wasn't even addressed to me. It was sent to the CEO, and Kevin CC'd the entire office. Who sends an email like that to the CEO? He didn't even give a reason for why he needed to reschedule. I looked for the Facebook group to see if there were any new developments, but the group was gone. I spoke to my coworker about it, and he informed me about the last recording and told me that the group had gone down last week. That meeting that Kevin tried to reschedule was the meeting where the company was going to fire him. Apparently, their incredible patience with this buffoon had finally come to an end. So I am sad to report that the leader of the Popel has fallen. You know what? He was brave enough to take a stand.
Where were you?
Alright, this story's called Kevin and the Fridge Light. So I was on a video call with my longtime friend, Kevin, and I mentioned how the light bulb in my fridge had busted and I needed to buy a replacement. Kevin then mentioned that this was actually a good thing because exposing beer to light would make it go bad faster. Thinking that he just kinda spoke without thinking, I said, you do know that the light goes off if you close the fridge. At that moment, I could see a metaphorical light bulb go on. At first, Kevin was unsure, but after some convincing, I managed to get him to walk to his fridge and watched him slowly close the fridge and see for himself that the light turns off. This was followed for some time by him repeatedly having the fridge be nearly closed and then opening it to see the light bulb turning on. I remember when I was like 7 or something. I was a little kid when I figured that out. It was a cool moment. Like, you guys don't know how huge of a freaking revelation that is, at the time you're discovering it. Like, holy crap, I was blown away.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.